When Judge Franklin Pierce summoned Emma Lawson to his courtroom, he thought he'd found the perfect target, a small-town literature teacher who dared to challenge him publicly. Easy prey, or so he believed. What he didn't know was that he had just walked into his own undoing. Emma loved teaching. For 10 years she guided her students at Westridge High, showing them that literature wasn't just entertainment but a mirror of justice and truth. But after a town hall meeting where she criticized Judge Pierce's ruling that diverted school funds to a private project, she had unknowingly placed herself in his crosshairs. One evening, Emma came home to a strange message. She was being summoned to court for a traffic violation she had already paid. Something felt off. The summons bore Judge Pierce's name. Her unease grew when Principal Stevens revealed the superintendent had been warned, by Pierce himself, about teachers who disrespect legal institutions. What no one at Westridge knew was that Emma had once studied law. She never took the bar, choosing teaching instead, but the knowledge remained, and Pierce had just handed her a reason to use it. In his chambers, the judge plotted. "She embarrassed me in public, she'll learn respect," he told his clerk, ordering fabricated contempt charges. For years he had intimidated critics with petty rulings and procedural traps. Most folded, but Emma was not most people. She dug into his record late into the night. Patterns emerged. Journalists, lawyers, even citizens who dared to oppose him, all mysteriously hit with irregularities. She reached out to an old law school classmate, a former student turned reporter, and even the state bar. By the time her court date arrived, Emma wasn't just ready to defend herself, she was ready to expose him. The municipal courtroom buzzed with the usual nervous defendants. Emma sat quietly, wearing a simple burgundy sweater, her grandfather's old briefcase at her side. When her case was called, Pierce barely looked up. "Failure to appear, contempt of court. How do you plead?" "Not guilty, Your Honor." Her voice was steady. She presented her payment receipt. Pierce dismissed it. She produced the original citation. No court date listed. Attorneys in the gallery leaned forward, sensing something unusual. "Perhaps in your English classes you liked the final word," Pierce sneered. "But here, I decide what counts." "With respect, Your Honor," Emma said calmly. "Procedural due process requires actual notice before contempt can be found. Could the court show proof of service?" The clerk fumbled through the file. The form was incomplete, unsigned. Emma pointed it out. Murmurs rippled through the room. Pierce's irritation boiled over. "You clearly have a problem with authority, just like at that town hall." And there it was. He'd admitted the connection. Emma's eyes met the reporters in the back row, scribbling furiously. "I wasn't aware my constitutionally protected speech was relevant to a traffic citation," she replied evenly. Pierce flushed red, then pounded his gavel. $2,000 and 40 hours community service. Emma didn't flinch. "I move for your recusal, Your Honor, on grounds of bias, procedural irregularities, and judicial misconduct." The gallery went silent. She laid out her evidence, her ticket marked "resolved," later altered without notice. Records showing others punished after criticizing the judge, a timeline tying it all to her public comments. Judicial Conduct Rule 2.11 requires recusal where impartiality can reasonably be questioned, she concluded, her tone measured but firm. Pierce's face went pale. "Where did you get your legal training?" "Law school, top of my class," Emma answered. "Though I chose teaching, I never forgot my gra. And father's words, knowledge of the law is every citizen's best protection against abuse." The judge called a recess. Behind closed doors, his arrogance had cracked. "What do you want?" he demanded. "Justice," Emma replied. "Dismiss these charges with prejudice. Recuse yourself from matters involving me or my school, and these 7 other cases you mishandled deserve review." When court resumed, Pierce announced the charges dismissed and his own recusal. His voice clipped, his power suddenly diminished. Outside, reporters swarmed. Emma simply said, "Our justice system works best when citizens know their rights, even against judges." Weeks later, funding for Westridge schools was restored. The superintendent and principal both apologized. Emma returned to her classroom, discussing To Kill a Mockingbird with her students when a note appeared on her desk. "Thank you for teaching us that standing up for what's right matters." She smiled at her grandfather's old law books. Maybe she had never left the law after all. She was just teaching the next generation how to use it.